topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good morning, Dallas, Fort Worth. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the finest experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Today's show is very dear to my heart. We are doing our sleep apnea show, Stop Snoring, however you want to identify it. And I'm not embarrassed to say, like a lot of my friends are, that I have sleep apnea. I'm on a CPAP machine. Little uncomfortable, but oh my God, it's changed my life. But another reason why this show is so important, and it's about never giving up. This is my 15th year of doing the show, and I am actually from Dallas. And I wanted to have the best of the best on my Dallas show, and all I kept hearing about is a clinic in Dallas that Dr. Kent Smith started, and it was the best. So of course I contacted them, and something always happened for years. Another type of expert would take if I had an opening spot. So for 15 years, I have wanted Dr. Smith to be our expert. And lo and behold, last year, we were able, after 15 years, able to put together a show. I am so lucky because I trust Dr. Smith so much. Let me welcome you, Dr. Kent Smith.
Hey, Stephen. Good to be here.
How do you like that for an opening?
Yeah, that was pretty good. I
That
don't think you
was,
tried hard enough, though. I mean, this is my favorite subject to talk about, but things
yes.
were pretty busy back then, and maybe things have calmed down enough, and our schedules work out.
Well, I'm just really glad because you are, when it comes to sleep disorders, you are the king, Dr. Smith, and you've gone from one location. Now you're at 6 locations?
We're at 6. Yep.
And your new one is where?
New one is in Mansfield. We're actually getting started June 1 there, so it's not quite open yet, but we just opened a new facility in Dallas and had the open house there last weekend. And so it's beautiful. We're on the top floor there over by by Medical City. It's on Coit.
Dr. Smith, let me ask you, when you're a dentist by trade, did you ever think that when you started doing sleep apnea that you have 6 locations and be considered as one of the top doctors when it comes to sleep disorders? Did you ever imagine that?
No, and when I was doing dentistry decades ago, I just thought, yeah, this one location doing dentistry is just what dentists do, and this is what I'll be doing. And then I got so much interest in sleep that dentistry got old for me, and I said, no more of this. Let's just do sleep. I had no idea that it was going to take off. It became my passion, and perhaps that tells you something. If you're more passionate about something, people will see it, they'll understand it, and the awareness will grow, and your influence will grow. And I think that's kind of what's happened over the years when I started teaching it in California and in Las Vegas and at some point, people just started viewing me as the expert, and that's where I am.
Look where it's come, because I know when I first and I'm here in Florida, so when I went to a sleep specialist, used to have to go to a different office and spend the night there. That you don't have to do that anymore, do you?
No, no. I mean, if you really want to, you can do
Yeah.
that. It's harder to find those labs. We know that there were 8 labs closed here in
Oh, wow.
2024. 8 of those in-lab operations. It just shows that they're going away. It's a thing of the past. There will always be need for in-lab studies. So it's not like, but maybe one per city in the future. But right now, everything is portable. You can do everything from home. I mean, you see all these different watches and rings and stuff that can help alert you to sleep problems. They're not all diagnostic. They can't all give you proof that you have sleep apnea, but they're getting smarter.
Dr. Schmidt, I got to tell you, from a person who tried everything, that I mean, how in the world I thought that some little piece of tape going across your nose would stop my snoring, but there's all kinds of gimmicks online. And I just want people to know that those I tried them all, none of them worked. And I am so glad where you have come. I mean, whether it's a CPAP machine or an apparatus, there are ways out there that really do work, but you've got to be so careful of that stuff online.
Yeah, that's, in one way I don't mind it because at least it alerts people that there are answers out there. But yeah, if they try some of those things online, they try a chin strap just by itself, hoping that solves the problem. There's a lot of things out there. Recently was told by somebody on social media, hey, acupuncture works for sleep apnea.
Wow.
No. Well, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there, and maybe everything has a little bit of impact. I don't know, but really, when patients ask me how they can get it treated, I tell them there are essentially 3 ways. There's your CPAP machine, which is kind of the gold standard. Only about 50% of patients can wear those. I'm one of them that can't. I tried 5 different times, and believe me, I wish I could, but I can't. So I wear an oral appliance. An oral appliance is effective if you have the lower levels of apnea, just as effective as CPAP, mild and moderate, not severe. It can work on severe patients, but it's not as predictable. And then there's surgeries. And Inspire is probably the most well-known. They put billions into marketing this. We are referring patients out for Inspire sometimes when they're not good candidates for a PAP machine or an oral device. So it is an effective therapy. It is a type of surgery, and we believe that surgery should be the last resort. But
Right.
there are other options. If you think, oh gosh, if I go in and have a sleep study, I'm going to have one of those Darth Vader machines, then yeah, that's not true. There are other options.
Right. It's amazing. I know you've heard this so many times. So people who snore, like when their spouse or friend or say, "Hey, you're snoring," they always deny it like they're embarrassed. And because I was like that, and I've had friends of mine who will fall asleep at a movie, and I'll hear them snoring. I went, "You're snoring," and no, I'm not. But it's one of the health issues that people. Why are they so embarrassed?
Well, I don't know. That's a really good question. I think it probably came from all the cartoons and stuff in the past, where
Yes,
snoring was funny and it woke people up, and spies that are snoring when they're asleep, and it's been a humorous thing, and males especially, we're terrible about admitting health
yes.
complications. Unfortunately, more males die of health issues because they just won't get diagnosed, and their spouse or their bed partner, they beg them to do it, and so they think that as far as the snoring part and the sleep apnea part, they just think curing it is sleeping in another room. So that's what happens. Largely, people sleep in separate bedrooms, and that becomes their new
Yes,
environment, and they get used to it, and they never want to leave their new environment, even if you fix their snoring.
exactly. Well, like I told you before the show, we were inundated by emails, people with questions, and I'm going to use those questions today. We got some great questions that I want to read to you. First, Greg in Grapevine. I love your show. I'm getting ready to become a patient. I know this might be a weird question. Why do we sleep?
Yeah, well, if you line up 10 sleep physicians and ask them why we sleep, you're going to get 10 different answers. It's
Ah, okay.
really impossible to nail it down. There are many functions of good sleep. We know that a lot of good things happen when we do sleep. We know bad things that happen when we don't. I think one of the things that was discovered about 4 or 5 years ago is a method of cleaning the brain tissue. Like, we have a lymphatic system that cleans out everything in our body that we don't need. Everyone's heard of the lymph system. So that's been in place. We've known about that for a century, probably. I don't know when it was discovered, but we really never knew how the brain was cleansed. We didn't get any fluid, any lymph fluid up into the brain. Well, now they figured out that through cerebrospinal fluid, in the arteries, it takes some of this fluid up into the brain tissue when you're asleep. And only when you're in deep sleep does this open up the astrocytes in the brain shrink. And when they do, the fluid can wash the brain, get rid of all the detritus that's built up during the day, and then exit out the venous walls. So that was discovered as called the glymphatic system. And they think this is what leads, if this is not cleaned, it can lead to Alzheimer's. We've all known that when you don't get good deep sleep, you're more likely to get Alzheimer's, but now we have the connection as to why. So some people think we sleep to clean the brain.
Mary in Plano, how much sleep do we really need? Our president, even at his age, says he only needs 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Can a person like the president at his age operate on that little of sleep?
Well, there is a class of patients called short sleepers, and that can occur
Ah,
when you have a mutation in the sleep gene. There is a sleep gene, and it's in every organ of your body. Everything has a sleep gene in it. And if there's a mutation in that, it's a clock gene, not sleep gene, clock gene. If your clock gene is mutated, you can then live on less sleep, and it's perfectly healthy for you to live on 4 to 5 hours of sleep. But only about 5% of people who claim they're short sleepers are true short sleepers.
hmm.
So it's an unusual trait, and even if you think you have it, you probably don't. So you just have to make sure that that is really how you can get by on 4 to 5 hours of sleep. You can function perfectly. You might have some cognitive testing during the day to make sure that that amount of sleep is curative for you. But if you are a short sleeper, I'm impressed. Many of the CEOs and those that are in charge of countries, and all of these people that just seem to have more time in the day to get things done than the rest of us, they may be short sleepers.
Interesting. Dr. Smith, I've got to tell people because this is one of the main reasons why I wanted this show on the air. Not too many times a host of a show also suffers from the health issues, and and I'm on a CPAP machine. But I'm going to tell people that when I didn't take care of this situation, I found myself falling asleep at the wheel. Thank God I never had a wreck. I found myself in some of my classes I was taking falling asleep, and I had to have the teacher wake me up, which was really embarrassing. But for people who have this problem and not to take care of it, I am telling you, I mean, I am just lucky that I didn't have an accident. I don't have that problem anymore. Once I went on the CPAP machine, I get the greatest sleep at night. I'm never tired during the day. But I know you've had patients come to you that have suffered from falling asleep during the day.
Oh yeah, we have to wake them up in our reception area to get them to come back, and they fall asleep in the rooms.
Yeah,
It's very obvious. And yeah, we falling asleep at stoplights is very dangerous. And there are
yes,
more wrecks than you know of. It's hard to diagnose when somebody had a wreck because they fell asleep. You just can't
right.
diagnose it. So, they'll do blood alcohol levels tests, and they'll do all kinds of other tests and figure out what, and we don't know what happened. They just ran off the road and hit a light pole. But it happens a lot. And like we said, people just don't want to get diagnosed. Now, sleepiness doesn't necessarily mean you have sleep apnea. You could be trying to get by on 3 hours of sleep.
Right.
You have something called narcolepsy, idiopathic hypersomnia. There are some other conditions. But regardless, if you're sleepy, even when you have 7 to 8 hours of sleep, which is where everybody should be, the vast majority of people between 7 and 8, and you're still sleepy, you get it tested.
Yes. That's what I want to get across on this show. We got so many questions here from listeners. Here's Warren in Mesquite. Love your show. What do you prefer, the CPAP or the mouthpiece?
Well, they both can work. So it really depends. We know that CPAP is more predictable with severe apnea to fix the problem. It's more difficult to wear. It's, like you said, it's not the most comfortable thing. It's hard to travel with, but you need
Yes.
to travel with it if you do. There are parts you have to keep changing out, the mask and the hose and the filters, that stuff keeps happening. And if anyone has a Respironics machine, well, they were all recalled. So there's always issues with that. So yes, the CPAP works if you can wear it, if you have a ResMed, which I'm assuming you have, Stephen.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good brand. And if you don't mind the upkeep, right? The appliance is easier to wear. I mean, every study shows you're more likely to wear an oral device than you are a CPAP. It just
Really?
might not be as effective as the CPAP machine.
I found the mask was uncomfortable, so I used the nasal pillow. I just prefer that. Um, but it's you just get used to it. I mean, I don't even think about it anymore. I've been wearing it for so long, but the thing is, I notice that I'm not tired during the day, and that's been just such a big help. Um, Dr. Smith, Julian Fort Worth said, I found your last show. I've told my friends who snore how important it is to come see you. My husband snores, though he denies it. How do you convince a loved one they need to come in and get tested by you?
That's going to be different for everybody. I don't know you and your husband. I'm not sure what it would take to convince him. Maybe if you have him watch one of these shows, send him a paper on all of these side effects for untreated sleep apnea. I mean, he's
Yes,
more likely to have a heart attack, a stroke. The Pope just died of a stroke. I mean,
yes,
there are, and who knows? He died in his sleep. He had a stroke and he's gone. So stroke, heart attack, diabetes, depression, acid reflux. It goes on and on. 3 different cancers I think we talked about last time. I don't remember.
Yes.
Uh, there are many health conditions that you can avoid if you get this treated. So he may not care about dying in his sleep of sudden cardiac death. I don't know. Everyone's a little different.
Oh, here's a great question. This is from Rudy in Temple, Texas. I'm really enjoying your show. I've learned several things from it I did not know. But can children have sleep apnea, and do you treat children?
We don't treat children. We have some people that we send to here in the Dallas area. But when children have it, it's most likely at age 4. You can certainly have it at other ages. It's
Wow.
really hard to find a 12-year-old with sleep apnea, but a 4-year-old, it's not hard. In fact, 9% of girls at age 4 have sleep apnea, about 6% of boys at age 4. And it's because the tonsils and adenoids are too large for their head size. So the head needs to grow more to accommodate these, and it can stunt growth. It can cause excessive bedwetting. I mean, even at 7 years old, if it's not controlled, they could keep wetting the bed. It could cause hyperactivity. With adults, we get sleepy. With kids, they become hyperactive. They grind their teeth a lot. These are side effects of a kid having untreated apnea. So just get diagnosed. I would say if you can see an ENT to get them to look at the tonsils and adenoids, that is easily the most common reason for that problem.
Stephen and Garland, I'm so surprised there aren't more podcasts like yours for something that's so important to your health. Can you walk me through the process once we come in and see you if we think we have sleep apnea?
Yeah, I'll try to do it quick. I know we don't have much time, but somebody comes in and if you have not had a sleep test, we'll hand you a sleep test, which you will then do in your own bed. And then depending on the type, most of the time it sends the information to the cloud. We have the data. And then we have a telemed conversation with the patient after that to go over the results of the study. They don't have to come in and talk about what the different options for treatment are and what costs, if any, there are. It usually doesn't cost that much with medical insurance because we take all medical insurances. Anyway, if you decide, yes, let's do this, then we get you set up for the next appointment. You might need to come in to sign some paperwork and stuff, but then we have to do a pre-auth with certain insurances. So once we do the pre-auth, as soon as that's received, we can deliver either the CPAP or the oral appliance. So that's essentially it. And then we just follow you up. We want to make sure that you're taken care of, and we don't want to just give you something and you're gone. You're part of the family now, and we want to make sure that you're taken care of.
Once you're on the CPAP, I guess there are settings you have to do. Do you have to come back years later and make sure the settings are still correct?
Well, with insurance, you have to, and if you're just doing cash for everything, you can do whatever you want. With medical insurance, which the vast majority of people would want to use, you have to come in regularly to qualify to get new materials, new masks, hose, and filters. Sometimes it's time for a whole new unit. So yeah, it's just those repeated visits are very important. I will admit that 2/3 of our CPAP follow-up patients just don't show up to their appointments, which I'll never understand.
2/3?
2/3. 2/3.
Wow.
So it's either they just think, well, I'm doing great, I don't need anything, or they just don't feel like I don't need a new mask right now. I don't need new stuff. I can just keep putting this off. I don't know. It's a good question, but I don't have an answer.
Wow. Listen, this show is so important that we replay it again the week after the show, which that's how important this show is. But you can also go to iHeart or Spotify, Ask the Experts Dallas Sleep Apnea, and you can go back and watch all the past shows. Dr. Smith, we are so lucky to have you. You'll be back again with us next month. Thank you so much for joining us. I love doing this show with you.
Thank you, Stephen. I enjoy it as well. This is a lot of fun, and I hope we're helping some people. That's what really matters.
Oh, we had so many more letters, which we'll get to next month, that people wrote in, and a lot of them wanted to talk about. We'll talk about REM sleep next time.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you, Dr. Smith.
Thank you.
That's Dr. Ken Smith. We're going to go to a quick break. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.